Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is Eric from Amazon Lit. How are you doing today, bro?
I'm fantastic, Jeff. I appreciate you having me on the show. I'm excited to talk shop right now.
All right, awesome, man. So first of all, go ahead and introduce yourself. We don't have a lot of time with Eric today, but first of all, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell people who you are, where you're from, and tell people what you do, what your occupation is.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Eric Castellano. I'm the founder of Amazon Lit, and I operate one of the largest third-party Amazon companies in the country, right here in New Jersey, northern New Jersey. We ship over 250,000 packages a month to customers all over the country. And from our success that we've developed over the past 7 years, we started a consulting business to help teach people on how they can implement the same process we use and help their businesses grow on Amazon as well.
Yeah, and I like that. I was watching your YouTube channel and checking you out on Instagram, and people would ask you questions like, "Weren't you worried about competition?" And you're like, "No, like I'm not worried about that at all. Like, what are you kidding?" So
Yeah.
go ahead, man. So you started out. How much did you start off with your Amazon business? Because I read on Instagram you started off. You had $4,000 invest. So it wasn't like that you had some rich uncle passed away and said, "Here, we're leaving you thousands of dollars." You were just like, "Hey, I've got $4,000 to my name that I'm going to invest in this business." So go ahead and tell your story. Kind of, first of all, what got your attention into reselling, and why did you go ahead and invest money into that market? And what was your thought process? Because you weren't always a huge Amazon seller. Go ahead, I'll give you the floor.
No, absolutely not. So my best friend, who's now my business partner, Sebastian, about 7.5 years ago, his aunt, she introduced him to some Amazon sellers. And he, at the time he was a bartender. I was in college. We didn't really have much going for us. And he had some money saved up. He was living in his uncle's apartment, who's one of our other business partners. He was living in his uncle's home. And he's just like, you know what? Let me give this a shot. Let me just go to Costco, go to BJ's. I'll buy some products. I got a couple $1,000s. I'll just try, right? He's like, I'm miserable being a bartender. It's not making me much money. I'm just living paycheck to paycheck, living off tips. So let me give it a shot. And he gave it a shot, and it quickly grew. It quickly grew. That 4,000 turned to 8, turned to 16, and then we got an investment from his uncle, $10,000, and that really allowed us to scale exponentially and move out of that basement in about 8 or 9 months to our first warehouse, which was small. It was about 1,000 square feet. So I'm talking like early beginning stages. And I think it's important to recognize. I think a lot of people forget. Like we weren't, like you said in the beginning. I wasn't always a large Amazon seller. I was a little guy in a basement, just 6, 7 years ago. So I get what it's like to start off from nothing.
Well, I talk about that a lot on my channel, is that everybody starts at zero, whether you're a YouTuber, whether you're a reseller on eBay or Amazon, everybody starts off at zero. That's very rarely does someone just show up and say, I got the winning Powerball numbers, or I had some rich uncle that passed away that left me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Usually 9 times out of 10, it's just people that, are immigrants or people that just started from nothing, started from the bottom and then hustled and worked their way up. What was your profession before you became a full-time Amazon seller? What were you doing?
Oh man, what wasn't I doing? I think that's the question, Jeff. I was primarily focused in the construction industry, building homes, doing renovations, stuff like that. But I've had jobs at car detailing shops, mechanics. I've worked at McDonald's. I've delivered pizza, worked in restaurants. So I did a little bit of everything before I've really figured out, what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I've been there before too. I've been there delivering
Yeah.
pizzas. I've been there. So definitely, it's kind of like one of those things where you graduate high school and you have this phase between 18 to 25 where you're just throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks. So I
Yeah.
definitely have been there before. So kind of talk to me a little bit about how you decided to grow and scale your business. First of all, people don't know you primarily specialize in Amazon wholesaling, where
Yeah.
basically you buy things because we do things pretty similarly. You
Yeah.
buy things at wholesale prices and then you resell them on Amazon for retail prices. Because I was just talking before the stream that what I do is similar. I just recently bought, let's say, 400 CDs recently for $189. So I'm buying a big wholesale lot of say 400 CDs for $189. That brings my buy cost to 47 cents a piece. And then if I could turn around and resell those items on eBay for 10, 15, $20 a piece times 4,000 items or from 400 items, you're turning your initial investment of $200 into $4,000. What you do is similar to that, except you're on Amazon. So what is like your ratio of your buy cost of what you pay for the merchandise and what you sell on Amazon? Because I heard on one of another live stream that you typically pay about 40%. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so our buy cost makes up about 40% of our sale price. Our average sale price right now is right around $20. So you figure our buy cost is right around $7 or $8. Right? So we're spending $7 or $8. We're selling it for 20, and then we're keeping the $3 to $5 in profit in between after the listing fees, the referral fee, the shipping fee. We're keeping that extra profit. Which, listen, it doesn't sound like a lot. I get it all the time. I hear it like, how are you, making money if you're only making $3 every time you sell a product? Well, you multiply 3 times thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of orders, it adds up rather quickly.
Yeah. So it's like we came to the right place, Eric. We're the same mindset. It's just that where you're on Amazon, you have a much larger presence, a larger platform. And what's the value of the merchandise you currently have listed? I heard it was over $1 million. So can you talk a little bit about how your business works? You have over 50 employees. Is that correct? Tell me about how your business is right now and kind of explain to people, because we're very similar. You have inventory that comes in, right? Yeah. You process this inventory. Like as an eBay seller, we would have let's say a big box of merchandise that comes off the truck. Then we would process the merchandise. You're going to check it, verify, and say, hey, it says there's 200 in a box. I'm verifying there's 200 in a box. You're going to make sure nothing's damaged or whatever. Then you're going to process these items, right? Whatever it is. And then after you process them, you're going to scan them in just like an eBay seller would. You're going to scan them in, list them available for sale on the platform, and then you're shipping them back out to Amazon FBA. Are we current so far? So elaborate, because we don't have that much time with you today. So kind of elaborate how your business works, because we have some people that's never sold on Amazon before. So I'm trying to break it down in ways where everybody can understand.
Yeah. So it's pretty straightforward. What we do is we buy in volume. So we buy in large quantities from wholesalers or distributors or brand direct. So we negotiate pricing and we purchase large volumes of brand name products. So products that people trust already, like Listerine mouthwash, Crest toothpaste, Old Spice deodorant, Head and Shoulders shampoo. Those products that people see in their local grocery stores every single day. And the beautiful thing about it is you don't have to run advertisements. You don't have to sell them. They sell themselves because people trust them. They've been using them for decades. So you don't have to push them in front of the customer. The customer looks for them. So we do that. And the process is we place an order with one of these companies. We get it shipped to our company, or we get it shipped directly to Amazon, depending on what type of product it is. And then if it comes here, we repackage it into 2-packs, 3-packs, 6-packs, 12-packs. That's where we make a lot of our money with the package quantity changes. That's really where a lot of the profit comes from. And then we ship it back to Amazon. And when a customer like yourself or like me buys it on Amazon, Amazon ships our product to the customer and then pays us the money from the transaction.
Okay, now I want to get into a couple things real quick. First of all, a lot of concerns that I get from people is they say, hey, I'm trying this Amazon thing, but the issue is I'm gated in a lot of categories. When you buy products wholesale, you send in the invoice and it can help you get ungated in some of these categories. So if someone's saying, hey, I'm handcuffed by Amazon, I'm gated in these certain categories, what do I do? So if someone is creating a new account from scratch and they're saying, hey, I really want to sell certain products, but I'm gated in these categories, I feel like I'm bumping my head up against the wall, what would you tell these people if they were in that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I would tell them to invest and purchase some product from a wholesaler, because those invoices work 95% of the time. There's a very small percentage that they don't work. So even if you got to spend $1,000 on an order and you're just going to break even on it and you're just using it for approval, it's still worth it, because you're breaking even on the order or you're making a couple dollars and you're getting approval for a whole new brand or a whole new category that you weren't allowed to sell in previously.
Okay. And now when someone has, what do you do when you have like Amazon returns. Can you talk about that? Because if your profit margins, let's say you said it's 40%. So that means if an item on Amazon sells for $100, your cost is $40, and then your margin should be $60. Is that correct? Could you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah. So our margin is closer to about 22% gross profit.
Oh, okay.
So the difference between the 40% buy cost plus the 22% gross profit margin, that's what, 62. So you're left with 38%. That other 38% goes to Amazon for what they call their referral fee, and it goes to the shipping cost. That's where that other 38% comes. But our return rate, because these are brand name products, our return rate's right about 1.2%. So it's very small for the amount of inventory we sell.
Okay, and what is the niche or the market that you guys specialize in?
Primarily grocery and health and beauty, but I'll sell anything I can make a couple bucks on, Jeff.
Okay, well, how do you go about finding products? Because I know we're going to get comments and people are going to say, okay, I got ungated in this category. I created my Amazon account, but I have no clue of how to get started or what products I should sell or what I'm allowed to sell. So elaborate on that. You go through a list of wholesalers and you just keep knocking on doors till you find products that fit your business model, correct?
Yes, absolutely, Jeff. It's definitely a numbers game. You got to reach out to a lot of companies. The close rate for accounts that you'll actually end up doing business with, it's right around 10 to 15%. So you figure if you reach out to 100 suppliers, you're probably only going to open accounts with maybe 15 of them. And then out of those 15, you might only ever place orders with 5 of them. So that initial process, it defeats a lot of people early on because they're not willing to put in the work. But if you could break through that wall, then you're really set up for success, because once you get a couple great accounts, you're really able to propel your business forward.
Okay, now a question that I have is that people are going to have is that when you contact this wholesaler, what is like the minimum amount that you have to place? Like you need $5,000, $10,000 to place an order with a wholesaler, or could you just call them and say, hey, I just need 200 units of XYZ? Explain how that works, because if they don't currently sell on Amazon, elaborate how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. So every vendor and supplier is going to be a little different, but the average minimum order quantity, or MOQ, is going to be about $1,500. So that's why I always suggest people who are trying to get into wholesale that you have about $1,500 to $4,000. So you're sitting a little comfortable and you're able to place one order from this company, another order from this company, and then kind of play around with the product and see which ones worked out best for you, reorder those, and then stop purchasing the ones that didn't make you money. But it really depends on the vendor, but most of them do have MOQs of about $1,500 to $2,000.
Okay, we're on the live stream chat, so I want to say hello to a few people in the chat. Just give me one second. I want to say hello to Prison of Profit. He said he reminds me of Aleister Black. He's talking about the WWE wrestler. I don't know if you know that guy. They've got like tattoos on his neck and everything. You know what he's talking about? We got my buddy BK from the Rockies is here. He says like, share, subscribe, and comment. We have Noah is in the chat. He says, what's up? Thanks for coming by. We got my buddy Eve Bliss Reseller Solutions says, hey, Jeff and Eric, you are both big-time hustlers. Dave, thank you for coming by and hanging out. If you have questions for our guests, drop it in the chat. We only have 30 minutes with him today. I don't want to be I'm trying to be conservative with this time because he's a busy guy. And when you're not working, you're still trying to spend time with your family and enjoy life. Like, you don't work, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We got Joel Dills is in the chat, says, hello, Jeff. Hope everyone is doing well. And we have Teep Fine Goldmine to stop by. Says, hey, yo. So explain a little bit. What is your average day or average week look like with your Amazon account? Like, what time do you usually wake up? Like, what does your routine consist of?
Yeah, and that's really why I love the industry we're in, Jeff, because every day is a little different, right? But my typical day, I'm up at 7:30, a little prayer, meditation, hop in the car, head to the office. First thing I'm doing is I'm checking sales and profits from the previous day. I'm making sure that the products we were selling yesterday weren't selling too fast. There's no discrepancies with the prices we were selling them at. And then I'm looking at the products that have been selling fast in the past couple hours to see maybe I could raise the price $1 or $2, get some more profit out of those products before they sell out. And then I'm just checking the account health, making sure everything's good there, looking at our stranded inventory, meaning SKUs that are stuck in Amazon for some reason that Amazon considers not being able to list them. So I'm kind of just analyzing that stuff. And then I kind of spend some time in the warehouse, just walking around, making sure everybody's doing their job. And then I spend a lot of time with our buyers, training them. And it's just my days are so different. Some days I place orders, and then in my evenings is when I really focus on our consulting side of the business, where we help these other sellers grow their Amazon companies.
Okay, now Eric, if someone wants to get started in Amazon wholesaling, how much money would you recommend that they commit to invest to start out their business? Like, would they need 1,500, 2,000, 5 grand? Like, if I came knocking on your door or called you and said, "Hey, man, I'm interested in starting this Amazon wholesale business. I don't have 10 grand or 100 grand to start out investing in. What should I start out with? What would be a good comfortable number to kind of get your feet wet and get started into this business?"
Yeah, $2,000 to $4,000. You can start with a little less, like 1,500, but the optimal amount of money to start with is about $2,000 to $4,000. You froze, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, I know we froze for a second. Are you back?
Yeah, we're
sorry.
back.
So if I came to you and I said, "Hey, I have $2,000 to $4,000 to get started," where do you recommend that they get started at? Like, what would you recommend they do first? Because you guys do offer training and coaching. I didn't bring you on to promote your training course, but if somebody is new and they're like, "Hey, I don't know where to get started. I don't know the first step to do or how to go from point A to point B," you do kind of offer a little bit of a training and coaching consulting as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, we do offer training consulting. That would bring your initial investment up because the training's about $3,000. But what it covers is essentially everything that we've learned in this past 7 years, from scaling out of our basement to moving up to all these different warehouses to where we are today, doing about $4.5 million in sales monthly with about 50 employees. It breaks that down step by step and shows you literally how to grow your business the same way we did, so you can begin to crush it and scale day after day, week after week, month over month. But really, I think what most people appreciate about it is there's weekly mentoring calls. So we're not just handing you this information saying, "Here, figure it out." Every week on Monday night, we're meeting with you, helping you grow your business, spending about an hour and a half with you and a couple other sellers, and we're guiding you through the beginning stages of getting your products or your business off the ground.
All right. So now, Eric, I don't mean to be rude, but when you said $4 million a month of sales, how much of that are you actually netting after you're paying for? Because this is the thing, the number starts way up here, but then you're going to subtract your cost of goods. You have to subtract your pick and pack fees. Amazon's going to take their cut. Then you're having to pay your overhead of warehouse space and pay for employees. Yeah. So your number you started here with, because I don't want people to be like, "Wow, $4 million a month, that's great." But I just want to kind of elaborate. If you start here, you're going to subtract your cost of goods. You're going to subtract your Amazon fees. Then you're going to subtract your warehouse and your overhead expenses. What is your probably net after we crunch your gross number down to your net that you probably net every month?
Yeah, month to month it varies, but it's between 8 to 10% of that. So it's about $400,000 a month in net profits. Yes.
And if it's not too late, 2021 is not too late. If somebody wants to get started on Amazon, but they're like, "Hey, I don't know. I think the market's saturated. There's too much competition." Like, what would you say to that person if they're in that situation?
Oh, man, I would say a lot. I would talk about the amazing opportunity that Amazon presents and how right now there's nearly 150 million shoppers on Amazon.com in the United States. That's just mind blowing when you think about it. That is access to so many different people all over the country that they're just waiting for products to buy. So I think the opportunity to start is better now than it's really ever been.
Right. So if you guys, I don't have a chart or graph in front of me, but I would show it to you. But if you look at e-commerce sales over the last 10 years, you're going to see a little chart and the little graph just goes up. There's nowhere where it's plateauing. There's nowhere where it's going down. It just every year it just gradually increases. Yes. So the opportunities, if you guys look, there's news stories every year, 2018, 2019, 2020, of all these brick and mortar stores that are shutting down and going out of business. And even big shopping malls are going out of business. And what's happening is we're transferring from this brick and mortar to, click and order. People are going online, they're clicking their mouse, and they're having the items shipped directly to their front door. It saves them time, it saves them gas. They're not having to fight traffic, find a parking space, wait in line to check out. There's a whole lot of other people that have kids. They don't want to like take their kids with them to the grocery store. There's a lot of elderly and retired people. There's a lot of people that are busy. They're like, hey, I'm working 40, 50, 60 hours at my job. I don't have time to then add all this extra hours into my day of running around doing these errands. So you're saying the opportunity is there. If someone's like, hey, this market's oversaturated, I'm going to get crushed out here. The thing is, there's competition in everything that you guys do. Whether you want to go buy a car, you want to rent a house, there's this girl that you want to talk to. There's competition on every level. So just get used to it, right? So don't just think, oh, there's competition, dude. There's competition everywhere. Like it's just, that's the world that we live in, right? So kind of talk about that a little bit. If somebody is intimidated, because sometimes because I understand Amazon a little bit, but I'm not on the platform. Because sometimes when you start talking about HIPAA and you start talking about ISN numbers and things like that, it kind of like gives me a headache sometimes. I'm looking at it and I'm trying to keep track, but kind of elaborate a little bit on the opportunities that exist.
Yeah, so really at the end of the day, the way I see it, Jeff, is like just give it a shot, right? If it's something you're considering, just give it a shot. What we did early on, and I encourage a lot of you to do who are listening to this, just set a time span, right? Like let's say for us, it was 1 year. Sebastian made a commitment that for 1 year, we're going to give this a try. If it doesn't work, we can always go back to the regular 9 to 5. We can always move back to what we used to be doing. But let's give it a shot for 1 year, put all of our effort into it, really bunker down and learn as much as we can. And then if after 1 year we don't like it or we're not making the type of money we want to make, we'll give up. It's as simple as that. You can always go back to what you used to do. So I would encourage anybody who's questioning or thinking about it, just give it a shot. If you don't try, you don't know. That fear prevents a lot of us from taking action in different aspects of our life, and that fear is debilitating. I encourage people to walk through that fear, face that fear, and just take action. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it anymore. Might make you a lot of money though.
Yeah, well, I look at reselling as almost zero risk. It's not like you're buying a lottery ticket for $5 and you're buying a scratch-off lottery ticket. When you invest in merchandise, you know for sure that you're going to be able to get your money back. Worst case scenario, you're going to break even, but very rarely are you going to lose money. So if I came to you and I said, hey, I have 10 grand to get started and selling on my Amazon business, and let's just say hypothetically, I'm just getting started and I invested 10 grand in a product to ship into Amazon FBA. What kind of rate of return would you expect on their initial investment, hypothetically?
Yeah, so you're looking, our ROI is about 40%. So you're looking at, what is that, about $4,000 off of that 10 grand.
Okay, now how important it is, because this is the one key that I think some people miss. How important is it to reinvest your capital back into your business? So how important would that be?
Super important. Listen, if you don't need the money you're making off your Amazon business to literally put food in your refrigerator and, take care of your family, then really every penny in that first year should be reinvested back into the business.
Right. So if you want to grow and scale and expand your business, like you said, it's very important to reinvest back in your business. We have a question here in the chat from eBliss Reseller Solutions. He wants to know, how expensive or competitive is the warehouse space where you were located at?
Yeah, well, I live in one of the most expensive places in the country, the tri-state area. It's about $12, $13 a square foot where we are. Other places where you're going to find expensive rent, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Miami. Those are all pretty expensive areas. But if you live in other parts of the country, you can get rent for much, much cheaper. And nowadays there's warehouse sharing services. I forgot the name of the website, but where you can just sublet or sublease a portion of someone's warehouse, and you don't have to actually get your own. You can just use someone else's.
Yeah, and there's also third parties. They're like, go ahead and talk about that, because if someone's like, man, I don't want to have 50 or 100 employees, I don't want to deal with all this headache. Yeah. You can actually go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't want to grow a massive Amazon business. They just want to make a couple $1,000s a month. So what you can do alternatively to having your own warehouse is you can leverage what we call prep centers. And what they do, you ship your products. Instead of shipping the products to yourself or to your home or your warehouse, you would ship them to these prep centers. And the prep center deals with all the packaging and the polybagging and the labeling, and then they ship it to Amazon. Now, there is obviously a service fee for this, but you would equate that, you would include that into your profit calculations to make sure when you're buying inventory, you're still profitable.
Right. So even if you're like, man, I don't want to have 50 employees. I don't want to be responsible for a big warehouse. There are third-party prep centers that can help you and assist you with that as well. So is there
Yeah.
any other suggestions or recommendations that you would advise to somebody if they're listening to this, maybe they don't sell on Amazon or they're on the fence? What would you tell this person if they're kind of considering it? Because you do offer some free training videos and classes on
Yeah.
your YouTube channel and Instagram.
Yeah.
Your links are down below. So tell people about what it is that you offer, and tell people if they're on the fence, they're like kind of teeter-tottering. They're like, I don't know if this is for me. He just told you he makes $400,000 a month of net profit. He didn't say, $40,000 a year. He said $400,000 a month. So this is now you're speaking my language. So go ahead and talk to these people and explain if they're on the fence, if they're like, I don't know. Because the thing is, they see so many of these ads on YouTube, like, hey, I'm living in this Lamborghini and I'm living in this mansion. And there's so many people that do clickbait and they see this crazy lifestyle, but they don't see everything that goes behind the scenes. So I think it kind of makes people skeptical when we talk about Amazon. So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, those YouTube ads, they've done a lot of them have done a huge disservice to the industry because, a lot of these people, they're renting these cars, renting these jets, and then saying, hey, do you want to make $1 million selling on Amazon? So what I would suggest for anybody who, you don't have a lot of capital, but you kind of want to get your feet in the game and get started, I would say 2 great videos that you should definitely watch on our YouTube channel. One is called How to Find Profitable Distributors. It breaks down the Google search process that we use in our company to locate distributors to contact and get wholesale catalogs from. And the second video is Understanding Keepa. Keepa is a third-party software that integrates with Amazon. And what it does is it tracks historical price fluctuations in a listing. So you could look at a listing today and be like, okay, it's selling at $6.99. But historically, for the past year, it's been selling at $10.99. That's where a lot of people lose a lot of money because all they see is $16.99. They buy a bunch of it, but they didn't realize that for the past year, 2 years, it's always been listed much less. So they buy all this inventory, then the price goes back to $10.99 and they lose all their money. So Keepa and Finding Profitable Distributors, those are the 2 videos I would suggest to start with. But also watch a bunch of the other ones. There's literally so much free content on our YouTube channel.
Okay, Eric. So tell everybody where they can find you at on YouTube and Instagram so they go by and check you out.
Yeah, absolutely. So YouTube, just search Amazon Lit in the search bar. It's youtube.com/Amazon Lit. And our Instagram, we provide a ton of content there as well. It's just Amazon_lit. We'd love to have you join the journey and help you in any way possible. We're grateful to have you all on board.
Okay, cool. Now, is there any 2 or 3 tips that you could leave our audience before we let you go? Any other 2 or 3 tips that you can just drop knowledge on them? Because maybe they're listening to me and they're like, hey, you know what? I'm listening to what Eric's saying, and I'm one of these people that's out here delivering pizzas, and I'm not making nowhere near $400,000 a month. Like, what would you tell this person that's delivering pizza right now and they're listening to what you have to say?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is don't let anybody else dictate your dreams. Growing up, I had a lot of people telling me, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I know a lot of us experience that same negative talk from our surroundings, whether it's family, friends, the community. Oh, you think you could do this, but you can't do this. You're just going to do this. Don't fall into that path, because if you want it, you can achieve it. I promise you that. The second thing would be work on that fear. Fear prevented me from excelling in a lot of different avenues in my life. Whether it was fear of financial freedom, fear of confrontation, fear of being loved, fear of not having enough. Like, all of these fears prevented me from taking action and moving forward. When really, at the end of the day, if I analyze that fear and I'm like, okay, what's the worst that can happen if I try this new thing? I fail. Maybe I get a little embarrassed. Maybe I feel uncomfortable. Okay, not the end of the world. It's not like I'm dying or I'm putting my life in danger. So let me give it a try. And the second thing would be just start, right? If you're considering it, just start taking action and don't get caught in the analysis paralysis phase, which I find very common with new Amazon sellers. They'll watch 16 weeks worth of YouTube videos, but not list one product. You start listing some products, learn a little bit, list some products. You'll learn a lot through that experience of listing products.
You know, it's funny because I say the same similar things. It's like, listen, I'm not offering coaching or training courses. I want you to get out there and skin your knees and skin your elbows and fall down and make mistakes, because you're going to learn so much more from like, oh, wait a minute, my eBay store just got suspended. I screwed up. You're going to learn way more than me sitting here telling you in a 30-minute video. Now, don't do that. Don't you stick your head in that stove, Eric. That stove is hot. And so once you screw up and make mistakes, you're going to learn 10 times more information from that than what I could tell you in a 30-minute video. Because I'm just sitting there and like, now you know you're not supposed to do that, and you go do it anyway. So anyways, it's been 30 minutes. We only have 30 minutes of time with you today. So we greatly appreciate you coming on and hang out with us. I just wanted to say hey to a few people in the chat. We have BK from the Rockies here. Joe Dill says, just subscribe. Sounds like you have some good info. eBliss Reseller Solutions says, Eric is right. Just get started. And I wanted to say hey to my buddy Mel from Back from Burnout. She will be on tomorrow at 5 p.m. So if you guys want to come by and hang out with Mel, she's a bookseller in Australia. So I will see you guys tomorrow with Mel. So if you have any final thoughts, and we'll let you go, Eric. I greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to come on and hang out with us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love meeting new people and networking within the industry. My final thought would be to everybody, just take action, and Jeff, man, I appreciate you. Super grateful for you having me on the show. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
All right, I appreciate you guys. All the links to his channel on YouTube and Instagram is down below. By the way, I didn't bring him on here just to promote his course. I just brought him on here to let you guys know what's possible. If you're in this situation and you're working a dead-end job and you're delivering pizzas and you know you can do more than what's given to you, you know you can do better than the cards that's dealt to you, and you want to do more, this is a guy, because I'm not an expert in all categories, but I can bring people on that are experts in their niches. So if you want to learn more, follow him on YouTube and Instagram. His links are down below. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 5 p.m. with our guest. Back from Burnout will be on tomorrow at 5. I'll see you guys then. You guys have a great day. Catch you later. Bye, everybody.
I'll see you, everyone.
Bye.